Today marks 5 months since the Hamas attacks of October the 7th, triggering the war in Gaza. In that time, over 30,000 Palestinians and 1,200 Israelis have been killed. And today, Hamas delegates have left truce talks in Cairo, suggesting a deal to pause the fighting and free the hostages is not close at hand. Well, let's get the very latest for you from Jerusalem. Andrew Hilliar is our reporter covering developments. He's with me live now. Andy, does it seem to you today that the two main parties are moving further away from a truce deal?
It does indeed, Nadia. Those talks do indeed appear to be at a dead end between Israel and Hamas. So they are set to resume next week, but that does mean that a deal before Ramadan, which begins around March the 10th, is very unlikely at this stage. Of course, we know that Hamas's delegation has left Cairo. Israel, of course, never sent a delegation to begin with because it says Hamas didn't send it a list of living hostages. And I think it's worth going over again what's stopping these two sides from coming to an agreement. They both seem to agree on the need for a temporary truce that would last about 6 weeks, time during which Israeli hostages could be exchanged for Palestinian prisoners, and perhaps more humanitarian aid could be delivered into the Gaza Strip as well. But Hamas has again always insisted on the fact that it wants a temporary truce to lead to a permanent ceasefire. It also wants Israel to withdraw its military forces from the northern part of the Gaza Strip so that residents can return to their homes, and it wants more humanitarian aid to get into the Gaza Strip. Of course, the problem is that Israel has always made it clear that it has no plans to withdraw its military forces from anywhere in the Gaza Strip. It even has said that it plans to retain security control over the territory for an unspecified amount of time after the war. And of course, that's a position that's simply unacceptable to Hamas.
And Andy, I suppose all of that just begs the question, what does that mean for the Palestinian civilians in Gaza who clearly so urgently need aid right now?
Well, of course, aid groups for a long time now have been, saying that simply not enough aid is getting to the people of Gaza. In February, about 97 trucks on average per day were getting into the Gaza Strip. That was down from about 150 per day in January and far short of the 500 per day that's needed to meet the needs of Gaza's population. Much of the aid comes from international aid agencies. It also comes from private contractors. But now even some people in Israel are trying to deliver aid themselves. Earlier this morning, we followed one such attempt by an NGO, an Israeli NGO called Standing Together. Given the needs of Gaza's population, this attempt was if anything, symbolic. There was only one lorry filled with aid, and they were turned around by police at a checkpoint before they got to the Kerem Shalom crossing, which is one of the main crossing points into the Gaza Strip near Rafah, near the Egyptian border. Now, they may not have succeeded, but it still goes to show that now people in Israel are taking matters into their own hands to try and get aid to the population of Gaza. And we're likely to see more attempts of this nature going forward.